Hello there, this is Santos Rolon Jr. here, Next Level Consulting. You are on my channel. Motivation, change, progress, success, happiness. I thought I'd make a short video today about marriage. Let's talk about marriage today in this video. What do we really want to talk about marriage? And by the way, I truly hope that you have made your day today a super fantastic, terrific, over-the-top day. Because as you and I both well know that good days just don't come of themselves. I mean, we can have a wonderful sunny day. That's awesome. Now that should not dictate your attitude. That should not dictate your happiness. Because true happiness really comes from within. It could be a rainy day. It could be snowing. It could be a storm outside. I love it all. Now, that's me. I know you might be different. I wanted to make a short video today and really talk about something that's been on my mind lately. And that is the subject of marriage and communication and listening to one another. Now, there's a verse in the Bible that says, and I know where it's at. It's not coming to my recall at the moment, but I do know that it says something like this. How can two agree, or how can two walk together except they be in agreement? I'm kind of paraphrasing it. And there's another verse that also says that a house that's divided will not stand. Now those are parables, but they are also law. So what's important between two people when they get married? They're supposed to be committed. Maybe you're not married. Maybe you're a single person and you've stumbled across my website and you're trying to figure out who I am. I made a statement today on my Facebook, actually my intro statement on my Facebook. You know, instead of promoting about my gifts, and of course that's all out there because I do promote my gifts, I really rather have my actions speak than just me saying this or the other thing, because my actions will speak very, very loudly and people will actually know who you are through your actions. So getting back to marriage, what's really important? The communication and the listening part. When two people commit to vows, you know, I don't believe in divorce. I do believe in separation if it needs to happen. I do believe that. But I don't believe in divorce. And sometimes divorce does happen. Obviously, we know that the divorce rate today is extremely high. It's actually sad when you see two people come together. There's enjoyment there. There's a really deep, intimate, mutual understanding of what they want to do together in life. And, you know, they share passion together. They share intimacy together. And hopefully they talk about their dreams and goals. And marriage, what is marriage to me? Marriage to me means teamwork. It means leadership. It means role models. And there's a lot of other words that we can use to describe what marriage really is. Marriage is basically a commitment. A solid commitment for two people, with two people, until death does them apart. That's the way I see it. It's a biblical way to look at it. And you're perfectly welcome to disagree with me on that. I enjoy talking about things, and I really enjoy having the proper motives when I talk in my videos. And, you know, when it comes to marriage, you have to have the proper motives. You have to have a righteous, lawful motive in order to keep it going. And communication has to be on the most deepest level when it comes to the marriage. And so does listening, listening to one another. And how do you do that? How does one become effective in communicating? How does one become effective in listening? Because I would believe probably the majority or the major reason why people actually divorce is probably because they lack an understanding in those two areas: communication and listening. And that, it doesn't just fall into the category of marriage, it also falls into the category of friendships and business partnerships, because those are marriages too, to a certain degree. It's a different kind of marriage, but it is a marriage. When you join up with a company, when you decide to take on a job, when you decide to build a business with another person or a group of people, that's a marriage of some sort. Now, getting back to the marriage within the two, the female and the male, and the home, the home structure. When communication is not practiced, I'm talking about deep communication. I'm not talking about the shallow communication that most people have, and I've been there too. I've had, I used to live my life that way, and it wasn't until I made a decision and started getting some knowledge about marriage and relationships and effective listening and effective communication and the words that we choose. I didn't understand. I really didn't understand that has to be a very solid foundation. And when that foundation is not there, what you have is just a shallow relationship. I don't know if I can call that a matrimony, but in actuality, in the eyes of God, when you tie the knot with somebody and you're signing that contract, you're bound. You are bound. And I cringe thinking about the types of things that are happening today between couples. And I know I've been married for 20 years. I experience testing on a daily basis, you could say. And you have to get to the point where you're communicating. You have to get to the point where you're willing to sacrifice your time. Actually, I shouldn't even say it. It shouldn't even be a sacrifice. It should be a strong, willing effort on your part to sit down and communicate with your partner. And you should, the relationship should be doing that on a continual basis. It's part of growing. It's part of becoming a strong home team, so that you can be a proper role model for the children in the home that are watching. Sitting down, making an effort, communicating about those things that I mentioned earlier in my video, our passions, our dreams, our goals, our fears, our securities. All of that has to be discussed. And when it's not being discussed, it's disgust. That's what it is. When it's not being discussed, it's disgust. Now, I use the word disgust as a bad word because, I disgust, a pile of manure in a field. If I'm having to sit there and look at it or even smell it, you drive by a field and sometimes that smell gets in here. I disgust that. What do we do? What do we do? Well, we have to get back to basics, really. We have to get back to basics, and we must sit down and I believe in sitting down with a notepad. I really like talking about the notepad and the pen, putting your thoughts on paper. And two people have to be in agreement for that. And if they're not in agreement, there's going to be some issues down the road, and there's a possibility of one of those two people leaving. You know, it's one thing if both of them are horrible at communication and effective listening, then you need some kind of therapy, obviously. But if one makes the effort continually, and the other person is not really opening up, basically that's a setup for failure. And I tell you, I hate failure. We all go through it. We have to learn. We must learn from failure. And going back to what God says in the Bible, except two agree, how can they walk together? Man, it's almost miserable when you're in that type of a situation. And again, it just doesn't last. I would encourage you, if you've come across this video and you're listening to what I'm saying about marriage and you're struggling in your marriage, do whatever it is necessary in order to make your marriage survive. You know, make an effort, make a strong effort. Don't take no for an answer. And, you know, if you know that you're doing the very best that you can and you're trying the hardest and you're making an effort continuously and you're not finding the solution on the other end, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you should do. You know, after you've tried counseling and therapy, and maybe you've tried to sit down with a notepad and pen and talked about subjects that are important to you, and I hear you. It's not an easy thing. It's just not an easy thing. And again, most marriages are set up for failure from the beginning because they don't have the skills, they don't have the mindset. And with all the, you know, people cheat on each other, they tend to, you know, to look at somebody else that may look a little better, or they think, like they say, the grass looks greener on the other side, and I don't believe in any of that. I really don't. There was a period in my life where I probably thought that way. Maybe I did think that way, but I don't think that way anymore. I can't. I can't think that way. And I would encourage and admonish you that if you're going through something in your marriage, look for the answers. Look for the solutions. Don't focus on the problem. And if the two of you are willing to agree, fight. You know? Fight for your marriage. Fight for what's right. And make it happen. You know, make it happen. Turn it around and let it be a testimony to others around you that may be looking at you as a failure, or they're kind of waiting for you basically to fall apart, you know. And I apologize for the shakiness of this video. I usually have a little stand in it that I put on my window because I do a lot of driving. You know, I run my family back and forth. That's what I do. I work from home. And I get inspired by a thought. I get inspired. There's kind of odd times, maybe. I shouldn't say odd times, but we get inspired. We get thoughts. And a lot of people just don't think on those thoughts. They dismiss thoughts because they don't think that those thoughts are valuable. And I recommend to anyone that is interested in succeeding in life and doing, you know, taking their life, their mindset to the next level, to write your thoughts down. Put them on paper so that at an appropriate time you can go back and add to that thought and learn from that thought. And you can build, you know, I mean, if everything around us is actually, at one time it was a thought. Everything around us. Even the landscaping, the earth itself was a thought that God, I imagine he had in his powerful omnipotent mind, and he created that, what we see, the trees and the land and the oceans and the skies and all of these things. People think that we evolved from something that was some kind of a liquid form or something. I don't believe in any of that. I believe that God is the creator, and I believe that we're here for his purpose, just as marriage is here for his purpose. So I have to sign off here. I know this video's gotten a little bit long. I'm feeling a little drained today because I didn't get much rest last night, but that's okay. I just, there's tonight. I can make up for it tonight. So with that said, I appreciate you on the other side of the screen. I hope that you are making it a super fantastic, terrific, over-the-top day, in spite of and because of. And I would encourage you to check out my Next Level Consulting. Look at my playlists. Check out my videos. I'm sure that you're going to find something that's going to be of interest to you. And I highly recommend that you watch my videos over and over and over, because eventually the change that's taken place, the progress that I've made in my life, it comes through my videos. And I believe it will help you succeed in every area, or in any area of your life that you're looking for positive change. So with that said, this is Santos Rolon Jr. here on Next Level Consulting. Remember to make every day a super fantastic, terrific, over-the-top day, in spite of and because of. Don't forget to comment, share my videos, subscribe, and I will see you on my next video.